everybody. Happy Friday night. Welcome to my Zen Den. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mandy Van Havermont and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! From Grey Eagle, Minnesota. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I was crafting. Is there a better excuse than that? I was crafting. I was down here doing my thing and all of a sudden I looked up and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be on already. It's after 8 o'clock. So I ran around and I got myself going. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're joining me tonight. I'm going to show you a couple of cards using the stamp set Inspirational Sketches. That is from the January to April mini catalog. It's a simple stamp set and that's what I love the most. So let's flip the camera around and we are going to get stamping right away. Hold on one second. All right. I literally just ran upstairs because as I hit the button, I'm like, oh no, I don't have my AirPods. So I ran upstairs and I ran back downstairs and now I feel like I ran a marathon and I think I need to walk more. Anywho, Inspirational Sketches. This is the stamp set. It is on page 65 of the mini catalog. I really like this stamp set. I love nature, I love simple, and I love the line sketches. The sentiments that come with it are enjoy the journey, grateful for you, and thank you for everything. However, I feel like you can mix this sentiments up with lots of different other stamp sets that you could create a lot of different kind of cards with this. So we're going to do two tonight, both of which I've kind of made before, but we're changing them up just a little bit. So first one that we're going to make is, I made this card before for a swap. We're going to make it, but we're going to change it up just a little bit. So let's get cracking on that. Here are the dimensions of everything that we're going to use. We're going to start out with an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of early espresso cardstock, and that's scored right down the middle at 4 1/4. So just a simple basic card. And then I've got a piece of pecan pie that's 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of designer series paper, and this is from, oh, here's the paper pack. It is from Nature's Sweetness designer series paper pack. It is the one that's got these same coordinating colors, but I'm going to be using this side here. I've got another piece of early espresso, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then a piece of basic white, 2.5 by 3.5. This is for the inside of the card so we can finish it out so we can use it. Okay, first things first, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here. I wanted to soften it up just a little bit. So I'm going to be using 2 ink colors on this card. We're going to be using mostly early espresso for the stamping and so on. But I am going to be using a little bit of pecan pie with a blending brush just to, not that piece. Maybe I'll do that piece too, but mostly for the designer series paper. That designer series paper it's got gold embossing on it, which is really, really neat, right? But it's on basic white. And I found that it was, in my opinion, it was a little harsh. So I'm going to just make it kind of a little bit more sepia tone, just brown, brown it up a little bit. Make it look a little bit old. I like the look of brown, just a little bit of the pecan pie it seems like the best to make that sepia look. And I think what I'm going to do is do that on my piece of basic white also. Very lightly on the basic white. I just want to just make it look a little bit older. I don't necessarily want it to be all colored, just on the outsides, especially on the very outside of the paper. Make that just a little bit darker. Really gives it a sepia look. So just like that, just kind of to make it look a little older, right? So now out of the stamp set, what I'm going to be using are, I'm going to be actually stamping the bird this time. I'm also going to be stamping using this little hatch print, which I think is a lot of fun. And then I'm going to be using the sentiment, enjoy the journey. So all of our stamping, let's see here, will be on these 2 pieces and everything will be in early espresso. So let's start out with my little hatch print, and I'm just going to I don't want it to look like I have a pattern at all. So I'm going to keep turning it every which way and filling it in. And if you notice on my when I'm tapping my ink pad, I'm not pressing down really hard. Stampin' Up's ink pads are made out of foam, so you don't need to press really hard when you're stamping. If you do press really hard, what's going to happen is you're going to get a big halo. I've actually pressed too hard for this anyhow. See, that's what's happened. That's why there's the ring around it. You don't need to press really hard. So I think that's good enough. Reason being, this is going to be covered up in the middle. So we're going to do it just like that. And it kind of gives it a little bit of it breaks up that background, right? So while I've got my ink pad open, I'm going to stamp my bird. And these are distinctive stamp sets. So what I mean by that is they really, they show a lot of detail into these stamps. So I'm going to bring out a piece of scratch paper first. So you really, really don't want to press hard on your ink pad here. You want to get as light of a piece, or as light of a imprint as possible. And that's what gives it that beautiful, and I would test it first. That's what gives it that beautiful lined image. It makes it look so deep, so like 3D kind of. If you are finding that you're getting globs of ink in certain areas, we'd like to mush that down with the back of a spoon. So this one is okay. If I find another, if I haven't tested, and I did it on purpose, I haven't tested my other stamp that I'm going to use on purpose, so that if I have to, I can show you what I'm talking about. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I think that is so pretty. I love that little bird. And I've seen a lot of designs where the bird is actually fussy cut out. I'm not a fussy cutter. I tell you what, if you get a card that I have fussy cut, I'm just stamped enjoy the journey. If you get a card that I have fussy cut, you should feel special, because that's not my deal, man. All right, so we're going to assemble our card now. Isn't that just so pretty? I love that. It looks like an old photograph. Makes me happy. Okay, so let's start assembling our card here. I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of our little bird and mat that right up on our piece of, let's get rid of that, early espresso. This is what I wanted. We're going to fold our card base and burnish it. Let's find a bone folder here. There we go. All right, and then we're going to put this, nope, don't do it, don't do it. Don't put that down first. Put this down first. How much do I confuse you? I'm so sorry. I get so excited. Don't put that down first, because we're going to put that on like that, and that's going to be part of it. And then I've got a brand new roll here of the, I love this ribbon. It is the bordered ribbon. It's pecan pie colored. It's from the annual catalog. I have gone through multiple spools of this already. Love this ribbon. And so I'm just going to cut a strip here. Boy, those scissors need some help. I'm going to flip this over, put a little bit of adhesive right there on the back, and then I'm going to set that ribbon on just like that, but don't press it down. There we go. So just like that. And that gives your card just a little bit of texture. It's a beautiful way to use ribbon without, just like that. It's a beautiful way to use ribbon without tying bows. So for all you non-bow tiers, that's a great way to use ribbon. And it also makes it easier to mail because it's laying flat in there. Okay, so now we're putting some adhesive on the back and we're matting that right down onto our early espresso. I'm going to grab some dimensionals here. Look at that. It's almost a full pack. I always save the empty packs for you. I know, right? But today you get a full one. And when it's this big of a piece of cardstock that I'm putting up, I like to put a lot. I don't want it to sag down. That just ruins the effect of your card. So just like that, we're going to kind of center it up and down and side to side right there in the middle. Such a cute card. If you wanted some, I'm not going to put any more sequins or anything on that, just because I feel like the gold that's down here is enough pretty on here. So that is card number 1. Just like that. This one here, if you notice, what I did was, sorry, let me get that out of the way. If you want to take a screenshot, this one here, if you noticed, instead of using the stamp in the background, I used an embossing folder, and I embossed that also with, I think I used early espresso on that one, but I also did the sepia with the pecan pie and the sepia on the piece of basic white. And then I used the wavy trim on this card instead of the flat ribbon, but both the same layouts, just different stamps. I love them both. I think they're so pretty. I love the sketches. We're going to switch gears here now. Instead of using neutral tone colors, we're going to bring in a little bit of color. This is the card that I am going to be casing. I actually designed this card, but I'm not going to be using these colors. Same layout, just different designer series paper. So this designer series paper, it's from the Hummingbird Suite. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's got Moody Mauve, and then this is Bubble Bath behind with some pebbled path ribbon and background. We're going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to pull in an 8.5 by 5.5 of fresh freesia. That's scored right down the middle at 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of pebbled path again, 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. A piece of the designer series paper. This is from the Softly Stippled, 3 by 4, so just a basic rectangle. And then I cut a circle out of basic white, out of the Stylish Shapes dies. A very good set of dies. If you are just getting into die making and things like that, or die cutting, this is a great set. Very, very useful. Lots of different shapes and things you can use. And then I've got a 3/8 inch strip of fresh freesia. Wow, that was a lot of tongue tying for me. I'm going to be bringing in my Pebbled Path ink pad, and I'm going to bring in a scrap of paper to try this out on. I've got 2 circles only because if I mess up, I've got a spare. So I've got my Pebbled Path. I've got my flowers stamp. We're going to tap it right on there, and we're going to see how this looks. It worked really good. I'm going to find a juicy ink pad. I've got one up there that I'm pretty sure I know which one is super juicy. So I'm going to grab my circle here, and I am just centering my flowers in my circle. If you want to stamp first, cut second, like I normally tell you to do, you certainly can with this. It's very simple. I just figured this one's centered really well. I'm just going for it. And then while I've got my ink pad open, I've got the Grateful for You sentiment. Just going to stamp that right into the middle like that. Okay, now I'm going to grab a pair of scissors that are sharper than the last pair, and I'm just going to, I'm eyeballing it. I'm not getting super particular. I just wanted to change the shape of it a little bit, and I don't feel, here we go. This is where things get wonky when you start trimming a second time. Okay, that first cut's usually the best cut. Just saying. All right, so I've got all my pieces here. I'm going to fold my piece of cardstock and burnish it. This is a super simple card to build up also. A lot of the same techniques that I used on the other card are going to be used on this one. But I love the Pool Party. That's what color this designer series paper is with the fresh freesia. I think it's so romantic, so pretty. I've got my Pebbled Path. This is the textured ribbon. It's an in color ribbon. I'm going to do the same thing as the other one. I'm just going to cut a little piece of that And then on the back side, run just a little bit of adhesive and just like that. That is the easiest trick ever for a ribbon. I love, love, love that trick. I'm going to put some more adhesive on the back and then just center this right on here. And if you didn't want to use, if you don't have a big shot, if you have a big punch, a big circle punch, absolutely feel free to use that. A circle is a circle no matter how you cut it. I could be a philosopher. I'm going to grab my dimensionals. That would be quite a college course, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it? Philosophy Philosophy according to Mandy 101. All right. And I've seen where people have colored these also. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colored, but I think they're just as beautiful not colored. I think they're so just like the most romantic looking flowers and images. I just love them. I think they're so pretty. Oh, I like it. Let's see here. I'm going to use some tear and tape. And the reason that I don't want to use this, I could use dimensionals. They might stick well. Tear and tape is a really aggressive adhesive. There we go. Tear and tape is a really aggressive adhesive. And when it comes to ribbon, you want an aggressive adhesive. So you want to either use glue, which might ooze out, or use the Stampin' Seal Plus, which I don't have out right now, or this is another alternative. So we're just going to peel that off. So aggressive, I can't get it off. It's not. I just can't grab it. You could have put it on the paper as well. Wouldn't that have been a genius thing? There goes the philosophy. I just failed. All right, there we go. So if you don't like that that's bouncing up at all, you could always put a glue dot behind it as well. So that is the second card. And of course, like I said, it was cased off of this card that I had already created, but this one's just a little different. I like the colors. Which colors do you like better? Do you like the pink or do you like the purple? I'm not sure. I couldn't even tell you which I like better. I like them both. I really like that one. Okay, let's see if I can find a juicy ink pad. Starry Sky. Try that one. Actually, let's try Night of Navy. Night of Navy is usually my gooeyest ink pad. So let's, because I want to show you how to get a good image. I'm just going to wash that ink off. So if you find that your ink is too, if you get too much ink on, this one might have done it. So you can see it's not terribly bad, but it's pretty thick there in the center. It's kind of thick there other places. If you just take, and in my craft caddy over here, I have literally, it's a kitchen spoon. I stole it. And you just smear it on the back of your, or smear it on your ink pad. Just push that ink down, because when that ink is stored, it's stored with the ink pad down. That is how your ink pads should be stored. It keeps the ink towards the surface of your pad. So on some of our distinctive stamps, if you've got too much ink at the surface of your ink pad, it's going to create problems. It's going to make it really kind of muddled. So let's clean this off again. All right, and I always tap the extra moisture off on my jeans. If you always wonder, what is she doing? I'm putting the extra moisture on my jeans. So you can already see there's not near as much ink on that. And see the difference? This one is really thick. It's kind of stuck in there. This one is it's more open. It's a way better impression. It's lighter, but it is way clearer, and it is just more, it's more distinctive, the way that the stamp is designed to be. So that is what you want to do. just a regular kitchen spoon. And then I literally, it doesn't go back up in the drawer. I just wash off the ink and put it back in my caddy of stuff. So that is a tip and a trick for any distinctive stamp. And a distinctive stamp, any stamp that you feel is getting too much ink, but a distinctive stamp, doesn't say it on here, but it does say it in the catalog. Right down in the bottom, it says distinctive. That means it's really got a lot of detail in each stamp. So there is a tip for you. All right, flip the camera around and say goodbye for the evening. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. If this stamp set wasn't on your radar, it's a really good one. And I think it's a really good one for sympathy cards, for congratulations cards, for, I mean, so many. There's so many. It's just a great soothing stamp set. So I hope you consider it. Hi, Pam. So happy that you're joining tonight. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you get some crafting in, and I will see you back here next Friday night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.